Good evening, everyone. So this is the second one for our Salesforce admin group, Trici's second meetup. So I really thank to those people who are support till now. So I really welcome you all who joined this meetup very eagerly. So I don't want to waste your time more. So I just give some brief introduction about our team and the team leads, co-leads about the speaker. So Jagdish, can you please move on to the next slide? Yeah, I like to introduce our team and about the team leads. So myself, Qadir Basha, I'm a Salesforce developer in MST Solutions, and I like to introduce Sundaravil Jayam. He is also a Salesforce developer working in MST Solutions. So please move on to the next slide. I like to introduce our speaker. He has a handful of experience in Salesforce. Currently, he completed the JavaScript certification one successfully, and he has more hands-on knowledge on the JavaScript. So this is a wonderful session. So I hope you all guys are get some more points and tricks for this certification, JavaScript certification. Before that, I have to give some valuable point. Yeah, sure. We record this event and we send out the recording to all the peoples who all missed it. I want to share something about this event. We provide a voucher code for the persons based on the social media sharing and based on the concurrent attending our group's meeting. So previously we provide some certification vouchers for the participants like for our previous meetup with Tableau. So we choose some peoples and provide voucher codes. I have really happy to provide voucher codes, and they are also share our happy moments on the social media. So I hope for this event also we provide certification voucher codes. I don't want waste more time on it. Directly I want to hand over the session to our speaker, Mr. Jagdish. So Jagdish, please.
Yeah, thank you, Kar. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Yeah, let's start our session today. Before moving to our session, let's thank our wonderful nature for giving us this wonderful opportunity. And I hope that the entire time that we are going to spend should be useful for everyone who are all attending this meeting, and you will get valuable prospects of it in the future. Yeah. With this good news, let's start our webinar. Okay, a few introduction about this session, and this is not a complete JavaScript tutorial session, and in an hour it is not possible to. So that this is about complete the syllabus discussion and a complete preparation strategy. But in the meantime, we will give you some questions. Those questions will be related to how to handle these questions if you face in the exams. To face that, we have given some sample questions. We can see that later on. Um, the entire session about the complete preparation strategy and the giving you a guidance about the syllabus. And there is no LWC involved, and why I'll tell you later during the session. The entire session is about the core JavaScript, and we will also share some valuable online resources which are freely available. They are here to help you people who are all trying to crack this certification. And there are some tips and tricks how we can easily face this exam. In the meantime, while I was going through this session, you can note down your questions at the right corner. You will be seeing the slide number. You can note down your questions so that you can ask during the Q&A session at the end. Yeah, we'll move on to the first slide. Yeah, this is today's the agenda. What is the path to JS certification and exploring the exam outlines, how the syllabus is being divided into several topics like variables and types, objects, functions, browser events, and so on. Okay. And finally, we saw the tips and tricks, and finally, we'll go for the question and answer session. We move on to the next slide. Okay, first we will discuss about the path to the JavaScript certification. The entire JavaScript certification is dependent on the two concepts. One is the Lightning Web Component Specialist Super Batch, and another is a multiple choice JavaScript. The core JavaScript questions will be there. There won't be anything related to the Aura component questions there. There won't be anything related to the LWC related JavaScript questions will be there. The multiple choice will consider completely the core JavaScript questions, and the both things you can complete in any order. One first you can either do the multiple choice exam and complete the online proctored or the offshore or the on-site proctored, and then you can go for LWC or you can go vice versa. But only after completing the both you will be earning the JavaScript developer one certification. And next is $1 million question. Does this multiple choice exam need LWC knowledge? That's no. The multiple choice exams entirely depend on the core JavaScript concepts, which doesn't involve any Salesforce related concepts like LWC or specific JavaScript things. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. This is the exam syllabus dividends, the syllabus split and the percentage allocation of marks between all the different syllabus they have provided. First, you can see the variables and types. It occupies the 23% of the entire um, exam outline. And next is the object and function, which is in the brown color. Um, Once you become rich and strong in these two concept variables and types, collection and objects and functions, you will be able to gain 50 percentage of the total score, so that also you will get the strong fundamentals of the core JavaScript concepts. Okay, next will be the browser and events, that is in the green color, which occupies 17% of the entire syllabus. If you have earlier worked on traditional web application development, you will be knowing what is a browser and events. You would have worked a lot. It will be very much helpful if you guys have worked in the traditional web experience like ASP or JSP and front end like that. But it is also easy when compared to the object and functions. You can easily crack the marks there. And next is the debugging and error handling. Once you know this variable and types, collection, object and functions, you can easily able to face this debugging error handling part also. And another one is asynchronous programming, which is a little bit advanced. Most of us would not will not be using them in our real-time projects, right? Asynchronous JavaScript, but it is there to help us for the call out using fetch or something. Um, yeah, it occupies a 33 percentage. Um, it is also needed when we need to do something in the another thread rather than not disturbing the current stack memory, right? So that it also occupies 13 percentage. And another is orange color, which is server side JavaScript. Server side JavaScript occupies for 8 percentage. Um, the entire concepts come from the Node.js and making JavaScript capable of hosting the server, how to create a server using the Node.js kind of concepts. It occupies for 8%. And compare this part little bit tricky because we would not have done that much work in the Node.js, right? So that, but even it is a Node.js, the questions won't be the advanced concept from the Node.js. They are very basic concepts. They will be asking the question from the server side concepts. Okay, next is a testing. Once you well known about the other rest of the concepts, the testing part will be very easy, and it involves very less amount of syllabus that is occupied here, and it also involves very less energy that you need to prepare for that section. We'll go to the next slide. You could see I have derived the first one is a variable types and collection, which occupies 23% of the entire marks, right? You could see that I have given a bullet points. What I have done is I have derived the entire syllabus into uh, the simple bullet points. If you search this through the Google or anything, I will be able to understand this concept, so that uh, for this syllabus, if you can study this only, it is enough. Um, that's why I have derived the entire syllabus as kind of bullet points. You could see, you should understand like this: JavaScript is case sensitive. How, for example, Apex is not case sensitive, right? How it is different? What is ECMAScript 6? And what are the basic grammar to declare? And importantly, I have to say here is I have given several hyperlinks in the coming slides. Those hyperlinks will be navigating to the important resources in the web pages. You will be able to understand while going through their in-depth concepts related to that bullet point. Next is understanding the dynamic type language, how the JavaScript differs from the other language, how it takes the type of the language dynamically. And next is a type of primitive and non-primitive data types that is supported. And equally, you could surprisingly see that function is also one of the non-primitive data type, which comes under the object. You will be later seeing on this while you are in-depthly preparing about this. And another is a primitive wrappers. We have wrapper classes, wrapper prototypes to enhance the basic data types like string or boolean. How to enhance or manipulate the basic data types. And there are several data type of unary operators, ternary instance of operators, and how we need to check is not a number or pass in pass float, and type cohesion and its impacts while you are doing the type conversion. And another one is how to check and null and undefined. Based on this question, I got some few questions in my examination. They will give you some questions based on that they have given a if class. Um, in the if they have given to check the null condition. Um, Actually, JavaScript considers null as false, right? That's how the if will be skipped. It will move to else part, like that of questions I faced. And truthy falsy evaluations. Just you put this concept in the Google or anything, search on it, or this truthy and falsy evaluations in JavaScript. You will be able to understand what is the entire concept related to, and comparing with the triple equal to operator, which includes the type of the data also, which is being compared, and what is the difference between the object dot is and the triple equal to operator. These are all comes under the data types in JavaScript. And this is a vast concept, so that still we have a few slides. And another one is a let, const, and where. How to use, where to use let, where to use where variable, what's the difference between the let, constant variables, how it acts in different scopes, what is the global variable and its impacts in the browser, and can we use them or not, kind of questions. In the exam I got on questions related to global variable. And next, variable hoisting, it is one of the important concept. They'll again and again asking this concept in the question. uh, we'll be seeing the questions in the upcoming slides about this variable questions. And another is a template literals. You will be have very much used. If you are developing LWC, you will be using the dollar symbol with the tick symbol, right? That's what here. It's belong to ECMAScript 6. There are some few questions that I have faced. And what normally the string data type based questions, um, you can do some string manipulation with the string data, right? You can use the wrapper methods to do that. Next one, the data object methods. How will you create a data object in the JavaScript, kind of questions. The data object, at least there will be only one question or less than, or may not be from the data object, but it is also one of the syllabus need to be covered. Next is about the collections, that is arrays. Next is about the collection, that is arrays. You can see that, um, for example, you can initialize array in different ways, right? You can use array constructors, array literals, or you can use the array wrapper methods to create array. And there are some higher order functions in the array, right? Filter, splice, and a reduce, sort kind of methods. There are several questions from the filter, splice, and slice everything. Next is basic, knowing about the syntax is enough. What is map and set collection in JavaScript? But I did not face any questions from this map and set, but it is recommended to know about the syntax since they are also one of the collections. Next is using spread and rest operators. They are part of the recently released JavaScript. There will be three dot operators, right? Uh, that's the spread and rest operators based on the usage. Um, you can use arrays or function arguments to get the arguments or um, to get the single values from the entire array kind of things. You can use the spread and rest operator. You can go through them later while you are researching on the topic in depth. And next one's a destructuring assignment, how to destructure the object or array to assign to the single variables. Next one's a JSON manipulations. Under that you have the stringify, parse, and declaring a valid data format without error, because there is a difference between declaring a normal object and a normal JSON, right? Uh, because JSON won't allow the double quotes inside the um, key value parts. It will throw the error, right? Kind of question I had. They ask like, will this throw an error or not? Like that, I had one question. Next is how the object literal and the JSON literals um, difference. That's what I earlier said. Understand the concept between the object literal and the JSON literals. Okay, let's move on to this sample questions part that which is related to this data types and collections. Um, you could say there is a function say hi with the variables name and which is declared with the var keyword and the age which is declared with the let keyword, and next the function is being called. Mm, um, can anyone guess the answer from this first question? Okay, the school, most of them are saying D. Yeah, yeah. The entire scope of the question is to understand the variable hosting. You could see the var keyword which is hosted to the top of the method, but the let is not hosted, so that the age, the JavaScript interpreter considers the age is not declared. But whereas the var keyword moved to the top of the method due to the variable hosting concept, so that the age, while we are referring the age, it becomes the reference error. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, let's move on to the next question too. From the questions which is not true from the four options. Okay, okay, about this question, there is a const. Okay, there are some answers. Okay, they are saying yeah. Okay, yeah, why a means we are using the dot operator. There is no bird property inside the mouse object, right? Here there is no bird property inside the mouse, so that we would not be able to use the dot operator. Mouse dot bird will return undefined. The undefined dot size will throw error, right? So that the is not valid. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Here let's predict the outputs. Okay, cool. Yeah, here y means we have the, let's see, we have the object with the property greeting and it's a value of a, and we have declared another variable t, and we assign the c to d. Now we are changing the property value from the c variable to hello. Now if you are printing, what will be the output? Exactly. It will be it will change, right? Because object or reference type while we are changing the reference. While we are changing the values, only the values will be changing. The references will be pointing the same location, right? Okay, let's move to the next question. 4. Okay, I'll start explaining why. We have let a equal to 3 and we have initiated a number object here, right? New number, and the new number is of one of the wrapper object available um, to manipulate the number data types. And let's see equal to 3, we are checking a whether a equal to b. Okay, and then checking a triple equal to b. First we are checking a equal to b. Okay, let's see if anyone say the answer. Okay, the answer is C, because we are checking here only the values. As far as the value is concerned, the double equal to operator 3 and 3 will be same. But moving on to the triple equal to operator, it will be checking the type also, right? The new number is of object. The B will be the object, so that when we are comparing A with B, it shows false. When we are comparing B with cells also, it is a false. So that the B will be the object, only the A and C will be the numbers. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, next we have gone into the another syllabus, which is also one of the fundamental part of the core JavaScript, object functions and classes. It occupies for 25%. First, we'll go through the object concepts. We need to study about the declaring and initiating object in different ways. We can initiate an object in several ways, right? You can use the object literals that uses the um, open braces, and inside you will be property, giving the property as a key value pass, right? Another is a function constructor. You can use the function constructor to dynamically create the object. Next is using the object dot create from the wrapper. Next one is different methods available in the object wrapper class. We can use different methods in the object wrapper to manipulate the object, right? And another is what is global object in global object basics, how the global object uh, is referred in the Node.js point of view, just basics enough when it comes to the Node.js part. And another is different ways of extending or freezing the object using the object wrapper class. For example, you can freeze the object to not add any additional properties, like those kind of question. One question I had related to that, um, I had one question like they don't want to extend the properties more than after the declaration, like that. And also there was some question like they will be declaring an object with the const keyword, and they will be saying that since the object is declared as const, can we change the value of the properties? Though it is a const, properties of the objects are subject to change, right? Those kind of questions are I had. I will ask you to confuse you. Next is one of the important fundamental things uh, about the functions. What is the named function? Anonymous functions. Function in a JavaScript, you can declare a function in several ways, right? Named functions, anonymous functions, function expressions, arrow functions, and how arrow function difference between the other functions. And there's a special concept with the arrow function, which is called a lexical scope. Um, there are some questions the tested questions when we compare to the normal anonymous functions or named functions. um, Most of the questions that you ask in the question will be using the arrow functions, so that I recommend you to go through the what is lexical scope and arrow function. Next is what is the difference between method and function. I recommend you to go through the difference. What is the difference between the scopes, block scope and global scope? And okay, and this let and where are validity of this variable let and where will be varying based on these different scopes, so that you should understand in the block scope how the let will act, in the global scope how the let will act. Similarly for the where, how the where will act in the global scope, how the where will act in the block scope kind of question. And another important concept is with this keyword, how the current context is, we can change the current context of the function being called. In function also provides a wrapper method. It has three important methods: apply, call, and bind. These three methods are used to change the context of the function being called, whether it is a global construct or inside the object, specific object context. Okay, I recommend you to strongly understand the difference between what is apply, call, or bind. The hyperlink that are given right in that bullet point, it will be helpful to understand what is the difference between these different methods. Um, because these methods will be used in the question that will be asked. For example, if there's a constructor inside the class, they will be asked and they'll be having the apply method inside the constructor, so that during the examination you won't get confused what is this apply method inside the constructor. So that I recommend you to understand difference between these three methods. And closures, functions, nested functions concept in JavaScript, how it acts differently, difference between the traditional Java server-side languages in the JavaScript, how it acts difference. And there is something called arguments keyword in which only considered inside the functions. I recommend you to see how arguments keyword works inside the function, and how to destructure the if multiple arguments passed as a single collection of element, how to destructure the arguments inside the function. Another one important confusing aspect is that this keyword, mm, the current context of the function being called, um, this keyword is one of the very important concept, and it will also vary based on the arrow functions that I earlier said, right, about the lexical scope. So that how that you need to understand that this keyword, um, how it acts differently in the arrow functions kind of things. And another is on design concept, just immediately invoked function uses the parenthesis after the functions. Just if you go to the Google immediately invoked function, you'll be able to understand what is immediately invoked functions. That means you don't need to call the function, it will be invoked during the execution of the interpreter. Next is the prototypes in JavaScript. We have the inheritance concept in CS, C++, sorry, JavaScript, right? Similarly, we have the inheritance concept in JavaScript, which is called prototypes. Um, what is the need of a prototype? How to extend an object with the multiple properties and functions? How to access class, parent class, parent object properties and parent object methods from the child object. I had one questions. I had one question in my examination. Like they have given a method with the same name in the parent object and derived a prototype object. They will ask you like whether which will take importance, the same method with the same name in the prototype object, or it will call the parent object kind of question that I had. And another one is after that they have ECMAScript 6 has recently released a classes concept. And what is classes, how inside the class how the strict mode acts. Do we need to explicitly declare the strict mode, or by default whether the class will run as a strict mode, or how the constructor will act inside the class? What is the purpose of super keyword? How we extend the class um, with the base class and subclass? How we can override the um, parent class properties in the parent class methods and properties in the subclass? What is getters and setters that uses the get set properties? And another one is a import. If you're LWC working in LWC, you will be seeing like we will be using the import at the top of the JavaScript um, class that we return, right? That the entire concept that uses the modules concept. Um, Once you understand what is the import and export, and what is default exports, named exports. I had one question like about the named exports in my examination. Let's move to the next slide. Okay, here let's predict the output here. In the first function, I have function bark I had extend this function with the animal property, and I have assigned this with the dog value. What is the probable answer? Okay, most of them are saying D references, some of them are saying C. Okay. About the function I said earlier, right? All the even though it is a function based on the JavaScript considers the function as the object, right? So that if it is the object, we can extend the object to the properties like, right? So that I have added an additional property and assigned a value to it. Nothing happens here, okay? Because bark is now a function and object as far as the JavaScript concerned. Okay, let's move on to the another questions. This question is about the prototype. I have the function person with the two parameters first name and last name. I am creating the object new person with the object name member. Now I am adding a property to this get full name, a property get full name, and assigning a function to it. Okay. Then I am calling the same function from the object that I created. Okay. Okay, someone is saying C. Yeah. Yeah, that's the answer will be the type error because here I have decided to extend add an additional method to this person object. Instead of I derived it through the prototype, I have directly added it as a property, so that unless I add it as a prototype dot get full name, I will be able to access the member from the member dot get full name method from the object instance created. But I have directly added it as a property to the person object, similar to here. Okay, that's why it will throw the type error because calling member dot get full name, there is no get full name method in the person object or the prototype that is extended from the person object. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Sorry. From the seventh question, can anyone predict? Cool. I'm getting some answers like A. And I'm getting some answers like C. Yeah, the answer is C because I have used to use strict, right? Strict won't allow the global declarations. The moment when I declare a age without any let, where, or const keyword inside a functions, the age becomes the global variable, right? So that using strict inside a function or class won't allow any global variables. Let's move to another question. Yeah, any guesses? Yeah, I have the, you could see I have directly extended the string, directly extend the string object, right, with the prototype. Okay. Earlier, we can extend our own object. Here, I have directly extended the direct wrapper string object with the additional name. Okay. What will be the output? Any guesses? I'm getting something C or B syntax errors. Okay, due to time concerns, the answer is cool. The answer is A actually, because this is how the prototype need to be extended like this, so that when the name is created, it acts as the object of the string, right? Similarly, the earlier one question that we saw, we have missed the prototype keyword in that one question, right? We have directly put like string that give Lydia Pizza, but the prototype will act as a bridge between the parent object to child object, right? So that we will be able to access. Then now the name is an object, since the string is a data type and the string is a wrapper object. So that while doing with the dot operator, we will be able to call the method and it will print the related line that is written. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Next one is the browser and events. If you are a traditional web developer, you will be very much you will be able to understand the entire concepts, because if you are developing front-end UI developers, or if you are developing ASP or Java JSP frameworks, right, you will be able to easily understand these things. First of all, the DOM manipulations, um, for the browser and event, it occupies was 17 percentage. Um, that how to manipulate the DOM using the get element by ID, set element by ID, and how to get the element by class name, get element by tag name kind of questions, and what is the query selector queries, how to select element with query selector all, and how to select with the dot operator in the query selector using the this um, using this mash operator in the query selector. And another one is element properties. How once we select element, we will be get able to get the properties, right. We can how to manipulate those properties or change those properties by selecting the element. um, Children, inner HTML, inner text, get attribute, set attribute kind of properties, and how to add or remove the CS classes using a class list property. I got one question about this concept, class list property. They asked us to add a um, additional CSS class to an element, and another is how to add the style to the property in JavaScript. And another one concept is about the events. You will be getting at least two questions about the events. How to add a listener to an existing event, how to remove a listener, what is use capture parameter in the add event listener method, what is the purpose of it. There is a boolean variable. Just go through about this, and what is the capturing phase and bubbling phase. How the event dot stop propagation will work while the event is propagating from the child element to parent element, how event dot stop propagation will work, and what is event dot prevent default, how it tags between the different element like anchor tag kind of things you need to understand. Just about this concept, we can I got one question from the custom event, how to create a custom event and how we'll be able to dispatch the custom event. Just go through the syntax and clearly know the syntax about the dispatching and creating a custom event. It will be helpful during the examination. And another is a browser object model concept, with the window, history, location. These are all the APIs from the browser, which has several if you go to the Mozilla Developer Network site, you will be able to understand what is window, and inside what is there in the window object model, history object model, how to navigate in the history, how will you be able to navigate from one history to another, how will you pass one history and move backward and move forward kind of questions you may get. um, and location object reloading to URL kind of things. And another is how we'll be using the browser developer tools to manipulate something in your web page. You have the elements tab, right? Just in the console, you can put document.get element by name, and you can try to hide it using JavaScript kind of things. One question I got from this, using the browser dev tool, I need to hide something and how we can debug something that one. Okay, here from the browser concept, we have one question here. Which option should I choose here? So I need to invoke some functions only after the entire web page is completely loaded. Which event listener should I use from the below options? Okay, I have an option documented add event listener. It listens to the event DOM content loaded, and another event that I have added to the directly window object, which listens to the load event. And I have another event listener I added to the window object which listens to the unload. And I have another event that I added to something called page, which listen to something called a load complete. Any answers? I'm getting B, B, C, B as the answers. Okay, it's good. Yeah, the answer is here B. The A and B might be confusing because the difference between the DOM content loader and the load events. The DOM content word loader will be fired when the entire document object model is loaded, but it won't wait for the CSS resources or any additional links to load or any ad pages. It won't wait for the DOM content load, won't wait for the external ad pages to load in the web page. But load will wait for everything in the web page, so that the load will be the appropriate answer here. So that window.add in listener load. And also note down this objects. You can add a listener to the document. Here we are adding listener to the window. Okay, let's move to the next question. Okay, this question about the local and session storage thing, which is true about the store data session storage. I have something stored in my session storage. The question is which is true about the store data storage. Whether it will expire within after I close the tab, or it will be there until I close the entire browser, or it will be there in my computer until I shut down. Most of them are C, saying B. Some of them are C. Most of them are B. Okay, that's cool. When the user closes the tab, the session storage will expire, right? Okay. There's another thing called local storage. I recommend you to go through what is local storage also. And these all comes under the um, browser object models questions. Okay, next we'll go to the 11. What is the event target when clicking the button? If you guys are saying advanced answers. Okay, that's correct. Button, when I click button, first the inner element will return the value. Then it will move to the outer element. Event will propagate to div, then this outer div. Okay, that's cool. Let's move to the next slide. Okay, as we move on to next slide, you could see that the number of percentage gets reduced, right? Similarly, since we have covered the entire basic concept, the syllabus also will be keep on reducing. Now it is 7%. Mm, we'll be using the try catch in our normal Apex or service-side languages also, right? Similarly, we have the try catch concepts in the JavaScript, and also how the nested try and nested catch blocks will act in the JavaScript, which will get the priority when the nested catch blocks get invoked. Kind of question you will get. I got one question using the nested try catch blocks, and next will be the on error event handler. Okay, the catch blocks by default will get the error object. What are the properties of the error object? How we can create a user defined error object kind of things you will be getting. um, this is something on error, all the elements, right, will be having the on error event handler. uh, if any error occur in the element, you can access this through the on error event handler. Okay, how you need to understand how to utilize this on error event object, but it is an added advantage. But I will recommend you to go through this try catch and how the error object acts inside the try catch. And another one is the important, in this space you can understand only the entire console related methods. We have the console.log, right? The console has a lot of methods. You will be getting lot of nearly 3 to 4 questions in your exam specifically about the console itself, so that I recommend you to go through the entire methods under the console, so that you can easily score what are the questions asked from the console side, right? You have several methods like console.time, console.timelog, console.log, console.info kind of things. I recommend you to go through all the methods inside the console, so that you will be able to understand everything during the while you are answering the questions in your exam. Let's go to another question. Any guess about the answer for the question 12? We'll move fast here onwards. Okay. Here the answer is A, because, and also one more thing I want to say, you could see this, right? What is this parenthesis? And here also we have the parenthesis. This is called the immediately invoked functions. I don't need to call this function from externally anywhere, right? In the console or anywhere. It will be automatically invoked when the JavaScript interpreter um, completes this execution. This function is automatically executed. Inside that I have this nested, I think I have the try catch block. Here you could see this X, right? When the catch block gets this throwed error, actually the catch receives the error object, okay? Not this variable X which is being passed to the catch. Okay, the catch actually here receives the error object. Here I have another variable X and Y, and I am logging it inside the catch block. Okay, I'm logging it inside the catch block. When I put console.log, it prints the X value from here. Now, after the catch block gets executed, okay, someone is saying D. Okay, the answer is A, one undefined two. I'll say because the X is block scoped here, and the X, here X gets the value from here. When the catch block execution completes, the X get the value from here. Okay, because of that, the X is undefined here. But why here the X is block scoped, right? Here we have declared, and the Y is reinitiated here, so that here we are accessing the same Y. Here only the X is block scope, since we are using inside the block scope. X is passed as a parameter here, right? So that, and let's move on to another question 13. Which option should I choose? I have something function greeting which throws the hello world as a error, and you could see that I have a try catch block inside the say hi method. I am calling this here. Okay, any predictions? Cool, the answer is D, because yeah, correct, the answer is D, because we have throw something as a string, right? But it is considered as a error object with the string data type and dynamically binded. And while we are catching it here, we will get this log statement. Okay. Now let's move on to another questions. Okay, I said right, console statement. The first question is about the console methods. Um, you need to insert the missing line in the first from the first line, and you need to identify what is the missing line based on the subsequent lines entered after that. Okay, someone is saying C. Okay, actually there's the answer is B. There is something called a console.time in the console namespace, console methods. I recommend you to go through these console methods. Most of the questions you will be get. Unless you declare the console.time, you won't be able to use the console.time log or console.time and after those methods. These methods are used to log the time in between to check some performances or something. You can use this console time methods to identify the time lag. First, you need to initiate a console.time, and then you can use the log to log the time there, log the time in between the method call. Okay, the answer is B. Next, move on to the question 15. Using the browser tool, you need to identify the status of external callouts. That's correct. The answer is network. Yeah, we'll be able to see the HTTP callout status, everything through the network tab, right, in the browser. That's correct. Let's move to the next. Okay, understanding. Now we'll move to the asynchronous programming side. Um, it occupies a 13% of the entire JavaScript examinations. I recommend you to once to thoroughly understand the function, object, and data type concepts. You can move on to the asynchronous programming. It's a little bit a latest one, so that it might take some time. But as far as the syllabus is concerned, it is very less, so that you can keep it as a last preference. But you will get nearly 4 to 5 questions from this one asynchronous programming. Okay, first you need to understand what is callbacks. Call basics of the call stacks is enough. How the call stack will work, how the how the asynchronous will happen in separate thread using call stacks. Those are the basic concepts. Okay, next, set time mode and clear time mode. Yeah, definitely. I'll share the PowerPoints later. And what is the set time mode and clear time mode methods, and how you can use the set time mode and clear time mode inside those callback methods and promises, because the set time mode will like little bit differently inside the promises, and there are some certain orders so that you'll be able to understand the set time mode, clear time modes, and what is promises, what is the need of the promises, what is promise chaining. These three methods, please note it down. There's three methods: promise.any, promise.all, promise.write. At least one question you will definitely get in your examination about this concept. And another is async and await, which is a newer version of promise us. And I did not get any question, but I recommend you to go through the async and await. You might get the question since it's also one of the concepts covered in the asynchronous. Let's move on to the next. Okay, if anyone know better understanding about the asynchronous, can anyone say answer for the first question? Someone is saying C, someone is saying B. The answer is actually B. That is two, because we could see this. The first promise takes 500 ms as a delay. Okay, the second promise takes 100 milliseconds as a delay. Okay, right? Promise dot race will get the first promise which is successfully, or either it is a failure or success. uh, which promise executes first, it will take that as output, and it call the then. Okay, so that here the 100 will be since the 100 milliseconds is a very less delay, it will second promise will execute and it will return the 2 from the promise. Okay, next we'll go to the another question. Which option should I use here? This question is depend upon the async and await. By default, all the async will return promise. Okay, right? But this await still waits until another promise got resolved. So that what's the output of this? While I am calling this get data method here. The answer is C with the promise pending, because if we the get data method only returns the promise, but the promise working inside the get data method will be returning the value I made it, right? If I put dot then operator, I will be getting this I made it as a successful value. Okay, the answer is C, that is pending. Okay, promise is one of the confusing thing while you are going through the exam preparation, so that understand the promise concept, what is promise dot then promise dot final kind of things, what is promise chaining. I recommend you to go through them next is one of the important aspect which we have very less used, is about the server side JavaScript. First, I start in the beginning. I have to say it is not about the complete Node.js preparation. Just it occupies for the 8%. Only you will get two or three questions. Three is a maximum. Minimum is three. Only minimum is two. Only you will be getting the two questions. Just understand how the server side JavaScript works. How what is the basics of Node.js? What is the package.json formed while we are creating a Node.js project? How to create the package as JSON, what is the properties inside the package as JSON, what is the Node.js version installed, and there's something npm package manager. What is npm package manager? What is the version of that one? How to get the version using the command palette? What are the Node.js core modules? And importantly, the Node.js package manager basic, and how to manage dependencies, how to install packages using npm package managers. For example, you can install the another entirely AngularJS or some React.js using the npm package manager in the same project, right? So that how to install them using the package npm package manager. What is semantic version? I got one question in my examination related to version. It is similar to the you guys are working in the project, right? Each sprint release, your project is getting new releases, right? If you guys are using the versioning for that project releases, that would be great. You'll be able to understand easily. If you're not using the versioning, that's also good. Just understand what is semantic versioning and what is semantic versioning shortcuts. And what is the event driven nature in Node.js, triggering how to trigger an event. How another one is how to create a web server with Node.js, only basics enough. And I got one question in my examination about debugging the server Node.js server using the command tools. One question I got in my examination. This occupies for only 8%, but everything is completely basic. I just go through the basics about the Node.js. Just I'm going quickly fast about this Node.js concept, um, because you guys need to understand that these are, and we have not used it. Most of us did not use this so far. Here, what is the appropriate answer in the missing line and 8? Okay. Okay. The answer is the my emitter object dot emit. No, here we don't have something called dispatch event or anything. We'll be using emit to fire the event, my emitter object or the emit of event. And the next one we'll go for another question about the semantic versioning. Your web application current version is 1.1.0. IT team has planned a major release by upcoming month, which breaks backward completely of the existing application. What is the possible new version of the application? Okay. Um, Actually, the new version has breaked the entire logic, right? Yeah, I'll complete it soon. Yeah, I'll take maximum of 5 minutes here after color. Okay. Okay. These are all about the semantic versioning. If anything, something breaks the backward compatibility, we need to remove this 1.1 and make this as a newer version so that we'll be making it as default 0. The answer is C 2.0.0. Okay. Let's move for the next slide. And another is testing. It applies for 7%. I will be getting one or two questions from here. What is black box testing? What is white box testing? And I got one question about if what is false positive, false negative, true positive. And another one is how we can effectively use assert statement. This is also from the console object. How we can effectively use the console.assert in your programming to do the assert statement. Similarly, how you use the in the Apex, right? Text test classes, how you can use it in your um, JavaScript executions. And console.assert is one of the important aspect. You'll get at least one or two questions definitely, and all the console methods will have the string substitution, which uses percentage d or based on the data type that uses. I recommend you to go through the console methods along with the string substitution also. Okay, I don't have time, right? I have let a equal to 8, b is of 8 of string type, right? So that c is equal to normal number. Okay, first the console assert statement checking a equal to b. We are checking only the double equal to operator, which will not check for the type, so that it will return true. Okay, next we'll be checking the triple equal to operator. It will be false, right? Because we are checking the type, but the b is of type string, so that it will be false. And a and c will also false because they are different numbers. And b and c will also false because it is a string 8 and it is 9. When it's come to string comparison, it will go for the ASCII value, so that which is true. Only the line number 4 is 4. So the first assert statement only will pass. Okay, let's move to the next question. A tester has been requested to test only after understanding about the flow of entire application, programming language used for that application, and the database technology supported for that application. Which type of testing involved in the ever process? There is something called black box testing and white box testing. Based on that, this question answer is white box testing. Unless you thoroughly understand the languages used, black box testing is a kind of user acceptance testing. They don't know anything about the languages and the technical concepts. They will just testing like a end user, but white box testing is in-depth testing where the tester need to know the programming language used and all the technical aspects. Let's move to the next slide. And these are the valuable resources which I used during my preparation. First one is Shantanu Boral's MVP website, which give you a lot of information about each and every topics. Another one is there is a video series from in a YouTube um, uploaded by the Nikhil, part of Salesforce Troop series. I recommend you to watch the entire series so that you will definitely get the in-depth understanding. And these are the links that I gave you to prepare preparation for with the exam level questions. You can use these links to prepare yourself and make it ready for the exam, face the exam questions. But I recommend only after going through first these two, you can go for this. If you go directly to the questions, uh, unless you have the related years of JavaScript exposure, it will be difficult for you to compete them. Okay. First, understand the exam outline, understand the entire what is the syllabus, everything. Next, understand the concept in depth. While I was going through this YouTube video, side by side, I had a HTML file or console opened my console or in my local host file. I was typing and testing everything by pausing the video in the side by side. I used to test. After completing everything, I moved to uh, work on those sample questions. Okay, right? So if you follow this procedure while you're going to the questions, right, you don't need to worry about the syntax, right? Because while you're seeing the question, you will be able to understand the syntax. Only the difficult thing may be the deriving the output, right? Okay. Okay, these are the tips. Believe in the preparation that you have done, the effort that you put, and during while you're choosing the options, first eliminate the wrong answers in your questions. At least there will be 45 to 50% of the question will be asking you to select minimum two options, so that if the question requires you to select two options, you need to be very careful, because uh, if one answer is correct, you choose another option as a wrong one, you will lose your mark, right? So that be careful while you're choosing the two option questions, and first eliminate the wrong ones, then eliminate the then you can choose the right ones. If you're seeing any long I got some 20 line of code in the promise chaining and ask some question from there. Don't panic about the long line of code. Though it is a long line of code, the entire scope of the question will be related to only the specific small concept. So that don't need to worry or if you are seeing the 10 to 15 line of code and asking you to answer the question from there. Okay. Next is, this is the road to success. First, understand the exam outline completely, the syllabus and everything. Next, go for the concept price understanding and work out in a console or JS file side by side. Okay, I said about a YouTube series and the blog guide. Um, Listen to these videos and pass them in the middle, work in the console or HTML side by side. For example, while I was doing the same, I got nearly 15 to 20 console files in my system as a part of my practice. After completing these two, um, go to resolve the questions. There are tons of JavaScript questions available in online, similar to that one I shared. Then go for the solving the questions, then you will definitely get success. That's the questions time. Any questions? All right. uh,
Thank you, Jagdish, for the wonderful session, and thank you everyone who joined this meetup and make this as a successful one. So we will share the recordings and the PPT to you, and we will send the voucher code also for the winners. And thank you once again for this cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Could you please share that PPT according to that recorded clip?
Yeah, sure, Manoj. We will share the PPT along with the recordings.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.